After years of warnings that Republicans posed a threat to democracy over voter suppression laws, are Democrats now the party taking aim at fair and free elections? In his latest piece for The Hill, News Nation political contributor and President Trump's former acting White House chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, blasted Democrats over what he sees as hypocritical legal fights against the No Labels Party in the 10 states where it has secured ballot access, going as far as to call those efforts voter harassment. So let's dive into this further with Mick Mulvaney, who served as the acting White House chief of staff from 2019 to 2020, and civil rights attorney Robert Patillo. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you for being on with us this morning. Mick, I'll start with you since this is your piece in The Hill today. You say you're not even talking about the efforts in 4 states to keep President Donald Trump off the ballot, although that certainly underscores your point further. You're talking about Democratic efforts to keep no labels off the ballot in every state. And you say Democrats are banking on voters of having short memory spans.
Yeah, good morning, Mark. You put Donald Trump aside for a second, if you can, in American politics this day. Let's just talk about what's happening on the ground with this No Labels group, this third-party group. They're a group that says that they don't want Biden or Trump, and they're willing to try and do something about it. They don't have anybody lined up yet. They don't have any nominee, but they have raised a bunch of money, and they're trying to get on the ballot, to get this new No Labels Party on the ballot, and they've done that in about 10 states. But now they're facing lawsuits from Democrats, not from Republicans, just from Democrats in Arizona. There's also been some pushback in Maine recently over the last couple of days, as the Democrats are saying they don't want this third party on the ticket because they think it would hurt Joe Biden and help Donald Trump. So that's the basis of the argument. I just don't understand how a group that seems to be so interested in making sure it's easy for people to vote, it's easy to get ballot access, it's easy to get on the ballot, to sue people to keep them off the ballot. And that's why I wrote the piece.
Well, let's see if we can make any sense of it. Robert, after years of warnings from Democrats about the threat Republicans pose to American democracy, I mean, can you admit that these lawsuits are at least a little bit hypocritical, trying to keep no labels off the ballot completely? And not to mention former President Trump. I mean, what say you?
This is absolute nonsense. Let's understand, there's nearly 100 years of Supreme Court jurisprudence on what exactly voter suppression is, going back to poll taxes and literacy tests that were used to keep African Americans from voting. We've seen in the last decade, since Shelby v. Holder, over 100 pieces of legislation passed nationwide, making it more difficult for individuals to vote in real voter suppression. Since the 2020 election, we've seen over a dozen nationwide bans on voting that makes it more difficult for people in states like Arizona, Ohio, Georgia, etc., to be able to vote in elections. And this is another attempt by conservatives to change the definitions of things. You change the definition of diversity, equity, and inclusion. You change the definition of critical race theory. You change the definition of defund the police. Now you change the definition of voter suppression. They're trying to cover up for the fact that Republicans have won the popular vote one time in the last 35 years. And instead of trying to attract more young voters, more diverse voters, more people of color to vote for the Republican Party, they simply try to change the rules to make it harder for individuals to vote. And now they're conflating Republican efforts to restrict things like giving people water and food while they're in line to vote in a state like Georgia. They're trying to conflate that with issues of just trying to ask no labels. Who is funding your campaign? And who are the people behind this?
And I know you've also said, Robert, that it's not voter suppression because this hasn't been a real group. But I mean, to Mick's point earlier, they've raised a lot of money. They've raised $80 million. They've tried to get a line on the ballot in every single state. How do you not consider that a real group? A viable group?
Because they have not declared themselves an actual political party. Look at parties like the Green Party. Look at parties like the Libertarian Party. They are political parties that have done the groundwork, declared themselves, disclosed their donors, but got the signatures needed. No Labels has not done any of those things. All we know, they are a shadowy organization that exists somewhere in the eastern parts of American politics. But in reality, what they're attempting to do is distract from the fact that Republicans have been trying to suppress votes nationwide for over the course of the last decade. And in order to do so, they have been willing to change laws around the country, and House Republicans are attempting to nationalize this on the federal level. And answer this question for me. If there was no election interference, as 60 courts have said in the 2020 election, why have we seen over a dozen voter quote-unquote integrity laws passed nationwide? It's because they want to put their fingers on the scales.
Mick, do you want to answer that?
Against the needs of the American people.
I can see you chomping at the bit. How do you want to answer that, Mick?
It's fine. I enjoy the conversation. I will point out that the former head of the NAACP, is one of the No Labels co-chairmen. So I don't think this is a Republican versus Democrat thing. I think No Labels is a real sort of down the middle. But I think we're talking about two different things. And maybe if we can maybe agree that voter suppression is not the right word, here's the point I'm trying to make, is that Democrats tried to make it look like Republicans were trying to prevent you from voting because they didn't want to serve water in waiting lines, or they made you show up with a picture ID. That's what a lot of the Republican initiatives were all about. Does that make it harder to vote for the person that you want, or does not having the person you want on the ballot make it harder for you to vote for that person? I would suggest that the person not being on the ballot makes it nearly impossible to vote for that person. So if you're worried at the end of the day about each American having the ability to easily vote for the candidate of their choice, it would seem like putting as many folks on the ballot as possible would be a good thing, that Democrats would support that. I think what this comes down to, and believe me, politics exists throughout the nation right now, but this is about politics. The Democrats believe that the No Labels candidate, who hasn't even been picked yet, will pull more votes from Joe Biden than it will from Donald Trump, and possibly give the election to Trump. I can tell you Republicans are worried about the same thing, especially if the No Labels people put a moderate Republican at the top of their ticket. So again, I'm not trying to avoid politics, because this is all politics. What I'm just trying to point out is it seems to be a double standard, and that if we wanted to make it as easy for people to vote as we could for the people they want to, we should let these folks on the ballot.
Yeah. Well, your piece is out in the Hill today. It's a lot of food for thought. Makes you think. Mick Mulvaney, Robert Patillo, thank you so much. As always, we do appreciate your different perspectives here.